guys, welcome to the late nights. Today's episode we have Dylan and Cam from Play to Win. Oh, goodness gracious, the best. Love it.
Hello. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, it's great to be here.
This is
Awesome.
great.
Thank you so much for joining us today.
Sure.
We're going to be talking about some magic. But before we talk about magic, I want to give
Yeah.
y'all the time to chill and do the things. Please.
Sure. Yeah. Well, we're a cEDH YouTube channel. That's mainly what we do. Every Sunday we post videos, gameplay most of the time, some podcasts, but not so much lately. We're active on Twitter and Instagram. You can find us there, Play to Win or Play to Win MTG. But cEDH content, that's our realm. Once a week we post videos. That's what we do.
I have nothing to add. Dylan hit the hammer right on the nail right there.
And as you guys would start your episodes, begin. Oh my god, so great. So, content creators, create really a platform that you all have has kind of grown pretty significantly, and
Yeah, it has.
it's been over the past year, right?
Yeah. A little over a year at this point, but yeah, just
February
barely.
2020.
And so, how did it get started? What was like the catalyst to Play to Win?
Yeah, so I have been making videos for a while. I'm a videographer. That's what I do for my job. And I've been like hobby YouTubing for a while. Like if you did enough research, you could probably find like Pokemon Go videos that I've done and YouTube and like vlogs that I've done. Maybe I'll post them at some point. So there were like many steps that led up to this. And I've made other magic videos too with some other friends of mine. But Cameron and I met through our girlfriends, actually. They were friends, and then I started dating my girlfriend, and then Cameron and I started talking because we were like the only ones that like knew anyone at the party or whatever. I'm like, you like magic? He's like, yeah. You like magic? You're like, yeah. So we talked about magic. And then after talking for a while, Cameron's just like a very loud, boisterous person, and so am I. So I'm like, this guy might be good as an entertainer. Let's say, and sure enough, he's a musician. We went to the same performing arts high school, so we have that like huzzah, you know what I mean? Like we're ready to perform type of thing.
Performance level.
So then I just kind of asked him. I'm like, I've been watching a lot of cEDH content. I want to play more cEDH. Honestly, it was just like originally a way for me to play more cEDH. I couldn't get my friends to play cEDH. Everyone was playing casual. So I'm like, okay, if we have a reason to play, then we'll actually play. And I wanted to play like the other channels were doing, with the playmats really close together and everyone being very particular about priority. I wanted that feeling, but it's like hard to get that feeling from your friend group that you've been playing casual with for like years and years, because they're just like, I'm not going to ask you if you pass on my soul ring every time. That's stupid. So we had to like get the video to make it like feel official. And then it just kind of like went slowly up. I think we got a lot of luck in the beginning. Right when we posted our first video was right when that first big in-person tournament was, which was like somewhere in Pennsylvania.
They talk about it all the time. The one that Heliod had won, that Tatyova was in the top 4. It's like the tournament that everyone talks about.
I hear it's like the last tournament before everything went to hell.
Okay.
So I was going to that tournament with Tyler, who's also on the channel, and I posted on the Reddit like the day of, and I told everyone at the tournament, like, play to win, check us out, play to win, check us out. And I think that like helped a little bit. It like get like the buzz going, and everyone found us. And from there, it's just been like a slow. I mean, it feels to me slow, but it's just been like an incline from there going up, just making more and more and more and more.
And more.
And more and more and more. just constantly trying to figure out how we can make more content or more videos to do it better and stuff.
On the flip side, people always ask me like, hey, how do you like get into content creation? And my story is a completely different side of things. It's first, get really lucky and find a friend that has the exact same hobbies as you and is a videographer for a living. B, set up a scenario where they ask you to co-host a show that they want to do, almost as if it was their idea.
Yeah. Really, Cameron just manipulated me into me thinking this was my idea to make content. It was his all along.
First, take a class on manipulation.
Yeah, that's what it really is.
Do you know how to hypnotize individuals?
Psych 101, love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I came across your channel, I think the thing that stood out to me, and this is not a dig to any other content creators, is I feel like the authenticity of the videos made me like interested, because it felt like I was playing with my friends.
Yeah.
Right? And like the narration was very minimal. It was much more conversational. And it was witty and it was fun. I just felt like, oh, this is my play group. Like this is what we do. We
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
That was kind of the goal going in. I had felt so much cEDH content was very like structured. It was very, everyone wanted to play very articulately and wanted to we're very minute about the rules, and that's not how we played cEDH. We still played cEDH, but we were like having fun and joking around the whole
Where
time.
were the puns? There were no puns anywhere.
Yeah.
Oh God, I wasn't punny at all.
So that was my kind of goal, is like there's something here with cEDH. It's such like an entertaining format to watch because it's like Commander, except you can make it move so quickly. So there's always something going on. But I wanted to bring that aspect that you mentioned. That's kind of cool that you felt that. I'm glad that people feel that, because that's the goal. I want you to feel like you're just hanging out with me, because that's what it is like. That's what Cameron and I are doing when we're narrating this stuff, is we're just hanging out. We stop watching. We play Magic for 2 hours after we narrate, and we're just hanging out. Yeah. So we try to keep that vibe as we're playing and going. Then.
Yeah. As a consumer of your content, it's like minimal explanation of, oh, here are the decks we're playing, so you have like a brief understanding, and then everyone is like playing Magic from that point on, and everyone gets an opportunity.
Yeah, that was the other thing we wanted to do, was make sure that like the game starts within like the first minute of the video. Yeah, like otherwise like you're skipping ahead until minute 5 over like opening hands and a full deck list that showed up on the page. Like it's sometimes like it's nice to know, like if I'm interested, like I'd want to know, but like I'm not interested. I want to play the game.
Right. That type of content where there's like a lot of headroom, like in the beginning, where it's like talking about everything, is great for newer players, but we're not newer players, and we wanted to make content that was not for newer players, that was for like the interested cEDH player. So like we don't go into crazy detail about what the decks do. We kind of just say like maybe like what the deck's name is and 3 main cards that go with the deck. And after that, I feel like it ruins the surprise if you like explain everything what the deck is supposed to do. And then in the game, the deck will either do that, and it's like, okay, well, you just called that and said exactly what it's going to do, so there was no surprise factor. Or the deck doesn't do that, and you're like, well, deck was a flop, didn't do what it was supposed to do.
What a bad
So like
deck,
you kind of set yourself, you set yourself up kind of for failure when you like explain everything. Whereas if you just like let the deck explain itself, that's interesting enough. You don't have to give more detail, but.
Yeah, I also like the rock and roll. That made me really happy. I was like, oh, this is cool. Okay, I can dig it.
Yeah, a little different.
Okay, so the channel gets started, right? You guys are making videos, and it starts blowing up. What right?
Do you see the anxiety that came over my face?
Yeah, I know.
So you have to make I think you have to make some pretty critical decisions, like how big do we want to make this, and like where do we go? How do we profit? What did you do to balance it?
Yeah.
Well, the balancing act came from just the sheer amount of work that gets put into it. I don't touch editing at all. And I mean, for those of you who aren't familiar with the editing process, like that is the YouTube channel, is editing the videos down. So like I try to help out in a lot of other ways as I can. I'm the guy that makes the proxies. I ship everything out to everyone that needs to go. So trying to find like the most even split that we could to have respect for each other's time and respect for each other's skills, was a lot of conversations.
The balance is hard because I spend probably like at least 30 hours a week on Play to Win, and then I also work full time, so that's a lot of time. But like in those times that I'm not actively working on Play to Win, I'm also like thinking about it and like staring at this whiteboard in my room and figuring out what the next 2 months look at and stuff like that. As far as like watching it like increase, it is kind of scary because you're like, wow, there's like 24,000 people that are watching this now. If I say the wrong thing, that could be really awkward. So that does come out. And like when I post, I definitely pace around my apartment for like a good half hour, just like, oh God, I hope I didn't make a critical mistake.
I'll get screenshots of what's on his phone currently, and it will be like, hey, what do you think about this? No, we're good.
Yeah, and it's always like, I'm always like afraid, like, what if I just didn't know how a card worked? Like I thought I knew how the combo worked and we played it a lot, and I just didn't know. I got it completely wrong. Like that's my biggest fear. I'm sure that's going to happen one day. But it's a lot. It's a lot to take in. Our main thought process is we don't want to look at this like a job. We have jobs in our own right, and we have regular jobs. You know what I mean? So for me, this is really more of a hobby. So I don't care if it makes money. I'm not caring if it's profiting. I just want the videos to be good, and then the other stuff kind of comes.
Yeah.
It just like kind of comes along. I don't look at it. I just like let the money kind of sit and grow. We like the Patreon money. That's the money that we take, and then all the other money goes back into the channel. So it like pays for more artwork, and it pays for more us to do more things and everything.
Other equipment and stuff.
Yeah. So I try not to like take a lot of the money just because I want to keep it in Play to Win. So the money keeps on making Play to Win go more and go bigger. But yeah, it's hard. I just keep telling myself like it's not a job. I don't care if it does well. Like if a playmat doesn't sell well, I don't care. If a shirt doesn't sell well, it doesn't matter.
The second that we start thinking it's a job, the second that quality goes down, the second that videos start coming out later and later and later, less frequently, like
I don't want to think about it too much. I don't want to structure it too much. It has to be a little bit like like floppy and weird and not, you know what I mean? Otherwise, it's not going to be fun for me, and it has to be fun for me to want to keep doing it, I think, which is kind of strange.
So I guess it's no surprising that the way that we look at the structure of Play to Win is the same that you would imagine us based on how we act in
Yeah.
Play to Win.
Yeah, I would imagine probably what you would expect is that's not really giving a shit.
Yeah.
It's not like I don't care. I think about it endlessly. I do care about it. But as far as like if something makes money or not, I don't care about that. I try not to think about the actual like money numbers, but it is cool to watch like the subscription numbers go up and like
That is fun.
it's so fascinating. Like how the hell do you guys find us? I don't know.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of things you said, and I think it all reverberates to authenticity, right?
Yeah.
And so you have like this passion project that you work on, and you work on really, really hard. And I think
Yeah.
that you found a community that can support it, right?
That's what I realized more than anything. Like halfway through, I realized, dude, I don't think we are making a YouTube channel anymore. I think we're making like the Patreon Discord community that happens to have YouTube videos attached to it. Like the 300 to 400 to 500 people that we have in Discord and on Patreon, I feel like a lot of times we're making the videos for them. Like they're the ones who are actively communicating with us, telling us what we want. It's really for them, and then like everyone else in the world gets to see it. But really, like the more and more I think about stuff, I'm like thinking about more things to make like the Discord and the Patreon experience more and try to deliver more that way.
It's really been like just trying to grow that community.
Just grow the community
right there.
because the community is like the cool parts. Like watch like a community foster and watch like these people who like didn't care about cEDH before and now they're like helping each other out figure out text. It's like it's such a cool
playing
feeling.
Games on the Discord.
That was the
too.
coolest thing when they're
I'll-
playing games without us. Like I didn't even know, and like 2:00 in the morning on our Discord, they're playing games. Like what in the world are you guys
Someone
doing? They're
from,
just chilling.
Like, literally, someone
so
from
cool.
Denmark is playing with someone from Georgia, like at 3 a.m. in our time. And
Yeah,
it's crazy
It's
just
so
to think
strange.
that like
it's so cool.
we had something to do to put some of this
Yeah.
together.
Yeah, I agree. I think that accessibility is really, really crucial here.
Yeah.
I think you provide that in spades, and I like
you.
that a lot. I think that
Yeah.
that made my experience, at least when I found you guys, and I was like, oh, let me go onto your Discord and sign up for your Patreon. And it's like, oh wait, like I got immediate access, and that was super sick. I was like, oh hey, hey
You're right in there.
Cam, hey Dylan, do you guys want to play Magic? Yeah. I didn't think it was gonna be that
We do
easy.
wanna play Magic.
So
Yeah.
that's super cool. Okay, so now you have this passion project. It's taken on this entire life form, right?
It is its own being at this point.
It is its own being, right?
It's funny. I got a comment the other day on YouTube, and someone said like, "What? Like how many of their cards are proxies?" And it was I think like one of the first comments that I got that wasn't asking me a question. They were asking everyone else about me, which seems strange, but it's weird to get a comment on your YouTube channel when someone is asking everyone else about you. They're asking them, "What do they, Dylan and Cameron?" would do with proxies? Like, why aren't you asking me? You're talking to me.
Yeah.
But that's not how it feels on YouTube. It feels like you're talking a big open space or whatever. It's just interesting.
Yeah. What is that's a really odd.
I'm sorry to
dynamic.
interrupt you. That was just like such a small little
that's-
nothing that I'm like, that's weird. Why did you do that?
That's really funny. So you have this platform, this community that you've built, and COVID restrictions loosen, and everyone's about to meet in person. You go to the next Grand Prix. Do you have a play to win stand? Is there
No, not really. I do have this thing. I don't know if anyone's watching, if we are using the video, I have this giant flag play to win thing that my girlfriend got me a while ago. But no, we don't. I have thought about that. That's the weirdest thing about this is I haven't met a single play to win fan yet. Isn't that kind of strange? Like anyone who's a fan of the channel, I have, besides like this, you know what I mean? But I've never met anyone in person because I haven't seen anyone in a year and a half. So I have no idea what that's going to be like. I have thought about that and look forward to that. And like, what if they like come up to like, I don't know, like I have like had a little like nervousness about that. It will be so freaking cool. I can't wait.
That being said, if you want to come up to
Definitely
us, like,
do it. That'd be so cool.
Be shy. Like we're just gonna be shocked and surprised.
Yeah, I'm
that
just gonna be confused that you want to say hi to
you
me.
want to. Yeah.
What could be the thing that they can do to indicate that they're fans more than just say I'm fan? Like, can they come up to you and be like,
begin, or if they gave us a finger guns, I would know right away. And
I
I'd
assume that, and even if like you're just passing me in a hallway, I assume if you fire some finger guns at me that you're a play to win fan.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Really anything. Just say hello. You know what I mean? Just say hi would be fantastic. But Yeah, no, I haven't. That's a strange thing about it. We haven't been to any events, and it's weird. I do think that the pandemic, strangely, like it's obviously it sounds really messed up to say this, but I do think it was helpful because everyone was like really lonely for a year, and they didn't have their friend group. They probably weren't playing with their friend group, which is why they were able to be like, all right, with us, these guys kind of feel like my friend group. You know what I mean? Like they feel like my idiot friends, so I can like watch their videos and get that same feeling. So I think that was good, which is like what we wanted. So it's a weird situation, but I'm glad that we were able to give some sense of friendship to people who might have been feeling lonely, missing out their Magic friends. Because I know what
we
that's like.
started doing this the month before.
Yeah,
of
the month before the
hit,
pandemic,
so
where this was not in the plan at all.
We barely know what it's like to do this without a pandemic.
Yeah, which is so strange, but it is cool. It opened up so many doors. Like I had no idea that our channel was going to be the channel that had every other content creator on. Like we've worked with so many people playing with power, casually competitive, mental mystic. I could go on and on about like Kyle Hill, like all like the people that we've collaborated with on channel. I did not expect that at all. I thought it was just going to be us four playing forever. So like the pandemic did kind of allow us to like open up and just like collaborate with every content creator under the sun. And I also think that also helped with our growth because we got to like cross pollinate audiences so many times.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that helped a lot. I think it brought a lot of credibility to the channel. So I think that's really cool. And I also think that you guys are pretty open to like if we were to like relate to Magic specifically, you were very understanding to deck building and like, oh, here's a new deck thing that you can do, and here's a new deck, and let's get the person who made the deck and bring them onto the channel. And that was really cool. I think and that's how I came onto your guys' channel is I played Kenrith. And I was like, oh, this is cool. Like these guys are.
And I would love to do more of that stuff. Like find community members who specialize in a deck and have them on the channel. We're just starting up like a new series, best of series of like best. It's gonna be like best Simic deck, and it's like 4 Simic decks, best Boros deck, 4 Boros decks or whatever. And the games are gonna be a little bit weird, obviously, because that makes a strange game. But I think that's interesting.
It's a weird meta, yeah.
So, but I would like to do more of that. Like have content creators who specialize in a singular deck come on and say like, I'm the one with the on the deck list on the DDB. I'll be their specialty expert or whatever in the episode. I would like to do more of that stuff for sure.
Yeah, I think that'd be really, really cool. Side note, I think it would be cool to see best of Pauper cEDH.
Pauper cEDH. That's interesting. I'd be down.
All right, so
Pauper's fun.
Another side note, what do you do for your commander?
Is it uncommon commander still, or can you, or now is you can choose an uncommon, so you can play Tatiova? Tatiova's probably pretty good in that Pauper format, isn't it?
Oh yeah, man. There's wild. Well, you have to remember it's any uncommon creature. And so,
it's not just the legendaries.
Correct.
You don't have to use a legendary as your commander.
Oh, there's so many good uncommons over the years.
Okay, I have to really think about that. Honestly, I know nothing about the format, but if you have 4 decks and are interested in playing, I would give it a shot. We played no banless commander recently, and we did like within like an hour we recorded 5 games. So I've been like releasing like them as Patreon content for a little bit. They're so crazy. If you're a patron, you watched one yesterday. It was like a turn 1 win. I don't want to spoil whatever, but that format is bonkers. I imagine Pauper is a little bit opposite of that, but I'd be down. Are there still combos? Are you still a cEDH? Is it still like you're playing like powerful things?
So I think the biggest thing I would look at it as it's very similar to playing like budget commander where you do have combos, they exist, but they're just not as turn 1E.
They're not as easy because you can't fit Fury Tutor for them.
Yeah, exactly. But there are a lot of commanders. There's a lot of them, and you could do a lot of really wonky stuff.
I'd be interested if you have a list of like who the best decks are or something. I would definitely be interested.
Is Peregrine Drake good? I remember Peregrine Drake being good in like actual Pauper.
Yeah,
Peregrine Drake can be your commander.
Yeah.
And then you can play High Tide in your deck.
You could play High Tide. You can play.
That sounds fun.
All right, well, sign me up.
We got a deck for Cameron.
My deck already.
Right. So it's just really, really fun. Anyways,
I'd be interested in trying any format, to be honest. Mainly cEDH, that's where I stick. But anything cEDH adjacent, I would love to do like some of those other dumb formats, like Oathbreaker or something like that.
We've been talking about Canadian Highlander.
That's one that I want to try too. Because Cameron and I play 1v1 a ton, and we're always playing like our cEDH decks or casual decks, and then we play like the lands that come in tapped when you have one opponent. I'm like, this is stupid. Why are we? You know what I mean? Like, why are we playing this card? And but we're not gonna change your decks or like change the rules of the cards or whatever. So we wanted like a 1v1 format, and Canadian Highlander seems like a good one. I don't know if you have played that at all.
Yeah, Canadian Highlander is pretty bonkers. I'm a big fan.
I also want something to do with my Tarmogoyf. And then it's just hanging
I
around
have
doing
4 of
nothing.
them sitting in my
Yeah.
binder from Jund, and I'm not doing anything with it.
Oh, that's hilarious. You kids are so funny. So, okay, so kind of shifting gears into the
Yeah,
Magic, and talking about like decks. What are your favorite decks? And
Okay.
we'll start off. Cameron, go for it. What's your favorite deck?
Anything that's mid-range or evolution based is my favorite, which is part of the reason why I'm super excited to be here today. My current list is a Kenrith list, but I've gone through pretty much every flavor of viable Thrasios mid-range that you could do between Rug, 2 different types of 4-color, almost 3. I never went Sans Black just because you always played, Dylan.
Yeah,
the
I was
Sans
playing
Black
Breeze for a
list,
while.
and I've always had a thing where I can't play the same commanders as a friend of mine that's playing it, so I gotta try to diversify a little bit. But if it's mid range and if I get to cast Eldritch Evolution into an uncounterable Thassa's Oracle, then I'm down. I'm down for that.
That one right there.
Yeah.
How about you, Dylan?
I've been working on a lot of Crom decks recently, Ikra Crom mostly. I was working on a crop rotation variant for a while, and then recently I'm playing with Power Headed Tournament, and Gustav, who's a member of our Discord, made this list that was crazy with Ikra and Crom that play Bullets of Citadel instead of Peer into the Abyss, and I like that a lot, so I'm playing that version right now. I like that deck a lot, just Ikra Crom, just like kind of slow ad nauseum, like win second ad nauseum, like try to interact first and then win. I like that deck a lot. That's my main deck. And then I am also playing Godo right now for the first time. I just put Godo together, which is super sick. And I'm also playing Nath, which is my favorite, one of my favorites right now recently, which is just Nath. It's just discard stuff.
Nath's turned into the almost like the play to win mascot at this point.
Yeah, it's Nath is great. I've been having a blast with
really
that.
good,
I play Nath a little bit differently than I think most, which sounds like I play Nath differently. I'm very like pretentious, but like a lot of people view Nath as a stacks deck, and I view it more like a rock deck, like a Jund style deck of looking like actively disrupt your opponents rather than like sit back on a lot of lock pieces. You don't have any way to protect your stuff, so like holding back your lock pieces isn't very good. And I want to like really dump my opponent's hands very quickly. So I view it, I play it a little bit aggressively. But I like that deck a lot. It's super sweet. It can do a ton of stuff. And it definitely plays off of other decks a lot. Nath is really good against wheels, so I think it's like pretty good in the meta right now. And with Witherbloom Apprentice and Chain of Smog, that's like a real combo.
Yeah, you get a bunch of these extra
Yeah.
free combos that just kind of
Yeah, and having like a nice like A+B 4-mana combo that is pretty good in Nath. And like, yes, discarding your hand kind of stinks, but a lot of the times by the time that you're doing it, you're basically, it's like your last card. You're like kind of hellbent because Nath is like playing on the board. So your goal is to like get all your stuff out of your hand. So then when you have the effects that make people discard a card every time they play something, it doesn't affect you because you're already hellbent and your board is your hand. So yeah, anyway, so Nath is a big one for me. Ikra Crom is one that I've been working on for a while, and Godo also are my big 3 decks that I'm playing right now.
Really cool. Yeah. I'm with Cam on the mid-range plan. Mid-range.
I was there. I feel you. I was on Thrasios decks for a while. They're definitely good. Yeah, for sure.
I just like being able to do everything and anything that I want to do in the format.
Kenrith can do anything. Kenrith is just like, I've watched Cameron
choose
get out of so many situations. He's like, oh, I think I'm dead. Wait a minute. In response to me being dead, I'm going to reanimate Thassa's Oracle. Or you know what I mean? Like stuff like that. It's like, who else can do that besides Kenrith? Can just like
there's
win.
an episode on the show where I ended up winning. Tyler tried to kill me with Cephalid Coliseum in response to my Thassa's Oracle, and then just being able to reuse all of Kenrith's abilities. Yeah,
you were able to you basically like killed your Thassa's Oracle and then reanimated it in the response into the milling of the last 3 cards or something. So you like won on top of your win that was under the Coliseum. It was
just an extra little flex, just in case.
Yeah, yeah. But Kenrith can just do so much. He really is. She just does so much.
Yeah. There's I talked about this in the last podcast because we dove pretty deep on Kenrith, and there's just a few lines that are like weird that you can do, like with Praetor's Grasp. You can do a lot of weird stuff, like
a lot of tricks. Yeah. Godo is like that too. I haven't learned all the tricks for Godo, but Godo and Kenrith are similar, and they have like these little tricks that you don't really realize that like Godo can cheat on mana so many different ways. Like everyone jokes Godo counts to 11. Not really. Godo really counts to like 6 or 8, you know what I mean? But you just have like magnetic theft or like ways to like cheat the mana cost, and there's just so many fun little tricks like that. And Kenrith is much the same way, like being able to do stuff like targeting your phantasmal image with the token ability so that it dies, and then reanimating the phantasmal image as a dockside to make more treasures, and you go infinite just off of that. It's from such an innocuous board state that like you always feel like Kenrith isn't doing a lot. Kenrith's got 2 cards in his hand. The Kenrith has like already like everything's in the graveyard. Then all of a sudden it's like
a couple
boop,
things
boop,
on the
boop,
board.
boop,
Yeah.
and you can't stop it because it's called activated abilities. It's like, wait a minute, you're not casting a spell. I have Force of Will up. And you're like, no, I'm not casting a spell.
I'm not gonna spell.
Yeah. Another reason why I like Nath a lot too. Nath does things like that. It has like what's the Fiend Artisan or something?
Oh yeah, the birthing pot on a stick.
Yeah, exactly. So you can like your opponents think they're trying to counterspell your stuff and they don't have a chance because you're just tutoring it for a right into play, or you're getting around the counterspells entirely.
Yeah, Kenny's a lot like that. And I've especially liked him over Thrasios more recently too, because there's a lot of scenarios where like being able to the reanimation ability again.
Yeah,
I know we keep talking about it.
Yeah.
I know you just did a podcast last week on this hire, but like it's just so
It's a lot.
So much extra stuff that you don't get out of any other.
No other commander can reanimate stuff right on the commander, I don't think. Right?
And
like
just draw a card. Just
yeah.
Like, if you have infinite mana, he wins you the game.
Yeah. And then also you win the game more with like Kenrith beats than anything. Like putting counters on your stuff, giving them haste and trample, and
I just killed
like
you last night by
I just died last night via that way. Just like actual combat damage. The game gets low. Everyone's ad nauseing and necro. Kenrith just needs to like spell pierce that last thing and then get you, and you're dead.
2+1/+1.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
There's one of my favorite things is so Forbidden Orchard is one of my favorite cards in Kenrith, only because I can give another person a dude and give that dude a +1/+1 counter.
Yeah, and then you can make them attack each other or something.
Yeah,
You can make
it's
them block and trade.
It's like, oh, you're attacking him with Timna? Okay, all right. Do you want to do? Will you block with the dude? Cool, awesome.
Yeah.
Like,
Give you spirit, make it big, block his thing,
right.
and then it's like it's just a mana loss for you.
That cost you no cards in hand.
Yeah.
No
you
cards
lost
in hand.
no cards.
It's a 0 for 2. You got rid of 2 things. Well, not really. I guess you just rid of the Timna, but it's still a 0 for 1. It's still only up on value. Very good.
This makes me so happy.
Yeah, so good, so good. Yeah, so mid-range is my jam actually. Recently, so I play a lot of Kinnan. That's like probably one of my favorite decks.
Yeah.
And I play a mid-range variant of Kinnan because I think mid-range is really strong right now in the current meta because it's ad nos and stacks and mid-range like lives in the middle of this.
Right.
And so a lot of the decks that I've been making recently have been mid-range oriented, and to see like decks like Nath or Kenrith, and then seeing more and more cards getting spoiled from Modern Horizons 2 makes me feel
This
like
set is again another commander set. It's not. It is a. All right. I'm sorry to interrupt, but it is a commander set through and through.
It is.
Bonkers. What's happening?
What card is there any cards that you want to add immediately to the decks that you like?
Ragavan is the one that comes to mind first. The Monkey Pirate.
Yeah.
I think that card is really good. It's a red mana dork mainly. I mean, you have to connect with it, but it's a 1 mana creature that makes mana every turn, which is really good.
Yeah, I mean,
And
it's fine. Whoever didn't play the turn 1 mana dork is the person you attack with the monkey.
Right,
So it's
yeah.
fine.
And then the dash ability gets around command tax, yeah? So you like attack into their dork and like, oh, I don't want you to, you know what I mean? All right, fine, I'll block with my dork and trade. And you're like, haha, I'm going to dash it next turn. And it doesn't do anything. You have to just play into the command tax.
And then it goes into your hand,
Yes.
so you can still avoid the command tax and
Right.
cast it for
That's
1
the one.
mana.
And then not only that, if someone like Imperial Seals, you go on your turn, I'm going to dash my guy in and take your Imperial Seal target. You know what I mean? No one can Imperial Seal while Ragavan's at the table. That's pretty nice. That's the first one that comes to mind. There are definitely other ones.
the Engorgeable Hierarch is one that
Oh, yeah.
I'm putting.
The
I don't
Gen
know
one.
about you, Hire, but I'm
Oh,
starting
yeah, it's
that
already in the deck.
Penny, like real fast.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like,
I mean, it's
database? Let's go.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
It's-
exactly.
It's
Like,
another, it's strictly better than a lot of other mana dorks.
Yeah.
That's such a good card.
And having access to a red mana in your mana dork, I'm gonna find to be pretty helpful too.
We were talking about this last night. Ignorable, what is it?
Engorgeable, I don't know.
Is it Engorgeable? No, it's Ignoble because
You
it's Noble Hierarch,
identify a
Ignoble
card
Hierarch.
by the art.
It's
That's
the-
how
it's
you
a
know
little
what
goblin
card
thing.
is, not the name.
But that card I think is really good in Najila specifically. I played Najila for a while, and when you're playing Najila, you always have to fetch for Taiga to play your mana dork because you need the red pip on turn 2 for Najila. But this way, this is the first mana dork that makes a red mana, so you can fetch for Tropical Island to play the Noble and then play Najila still and not have to waste finding a Taiga, which is otherwise not the greatest land in Najila. It's a very tiny thing, but I think that's pretty exciting. Najila players are probably stoked on that.
It's gonna bump it up.
That card's
yeah.
good, yeah.
Yeah.
Also, the white Force of Will. It's not a really Force of Will, it's just exile creature, but you can pitch a white card. I think that card's also pretty good. I think that's something.
The additional free spells I thought were really crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Some of them are better than others.
The black
like,
one's probably no good. The Thoughtseize effect. I wish it said each, but yeah.
Jund. Here we
Yeah.
go. We're gonna talk about Jund again.
The green one I think is it's a graveyard removal that also kind of weirdly stops Thassa's Oracle because it puts them in
the way
the
that
deck.
it's worded does help, but
Maybe if you're in like heavy creature deck, but I'm not sure.
outside of stopping like Thassa's Oracle, I
Yeah.
don't know. Like unless you're in like a really like graveyard heavy pod, I don't know how much that card is going to do otherwise.
Yeah, we should. I feel bad. We're like talking about these cards that people may not know yet because they're brand new, and we don't even have the names for them. I'm just describing
Again, you
what they
know
are. 'cause I don't
cards
remember.
by
I'm
the
gonna
art,
post.
not by
Don't
the
worry.
name.
I'll
Yeah.
have the links to these cards. Hopefully, they'll be done.
Sorry, we're bringing up so much stuff. Everyone's like, "What the hell are you guys talking about?" But yeah, new cards are good
Yeah.
for sure, and mid range. The new cards make mid range very good.
Yeah, there's there's a few cards that stood out to me. Garth was one of them.
Garth is a good one. Yeah, we're playing Garth today in our best Modern Horizons 2 game. I'm excited to see how
Well,
it
we're
goes.
filming it today. Don't look
yeah,
for it today.
Yeah,
But
we're
Yeah.
filming it.
Yeah, I made 2 decks about Garth already. Just like
What
just
are you
'cause
doing with Garth?
so many things, all the things.
I decided to go with like
Are you-
Jeskai Ascendancy and then also have a Razakat in there. That was my kind of thought. Of like,
it's more of a brain geyser Garth instead of a Black Lotus Garth.
yeah, my thought was just like play Garth and then make it through to your untap and then ISO Rev, make infinite mana and cast a really big brain geyser that can also like terror the Hull Breacher before you do that. Like that's pretty good, I think. But yeah.
I'm running man, I'm running a bunch of stuff, my guy. So one Garth build is also in Razaketh.
Okay, cool.
And it actually uses Dermotaxi.
Dermotaxi.
Oh,
that's
the
a
new one. Yeah.
You can like exile a creature to it and then you can you can turn it into the creature by doing something.
Yeah. So the idea is do the Dermotaxi things, get Razaketh, do Razaketh things, and then make Garth do Garth things. So
Could be something.
So, and for people who are new to Magic or I don't know the world, Garth has activated ability that allows you to create 5 different cards. One of them is Black Lotus, which allows you to tap it and sack it for 3 mana of any color, which is bananas.
Pretty good.
And then Brain Geyser allows you to draw cards, and so you can do a thing. So in this deck, you can do a thing where you are able to create infinite mana, and then you can actually sack Garth and recast Garth, and it has haste, so you can do all the Garth things.
Wait, Garth has haste?
No, there's
with
ways
anger,
you set
with
up
anger.
for Garth.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh yeah, I have anger in my deck too. Yeah, I
Yeah.
also have anger in there to give it haste.
Yeah. So that's the.
I wasn't sure if Lightning Greaves was worth a spot too. I'm not playing Greaves. I thought about it, but I ultimately decided no. I thought anger might be a little bit better, but I'm not sure. Anger needs a mountain in play. That can be kind of hard.
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
You can Tigers on
I put Greaves in the deck for sure.
You did, okay. Yeah, I've been thought about Greaves. I think that's probably a fine good include.
Yeah, and then
And you can give your Shivan Dragons haste then too when you make a Shivan Dragon.
That's
Yes.
how you win, right? We keep untapping and flickering Garth for the Shivan Dragon.
I mean,
It's-
theoretically, you make a couple Shivan Dragons. That Shivan Dragon can pump itself with your infinite mana that you make.
Mhm.
Right? That's
you
can
just
win
play
that way.
Concordant Crossroads then, and then
There
now
you
all
go.
of your Shivan Dragons have haste.
Boom.
There you go.
Fervor,
Solved
fervor,
it.
same thing,
Broke
right?
Garth.
There we go. We have to put a new deck together for
Yeah.
Garth before 3:00 this afternoon.
Yeah. And the other list, I have World Gorger Dragon.
Okay, sure.
Loops, and with anger you can do all of the things. It's pretty insane. Really fun. But there's a lot of cards from Modern Horizons 2.
Not too many commanders. I felt though. We just talked about 2 legendary creatures. I don't think the monkey is the best commander. I am playing it as a commander today. I think it might be better on the 99, but I didn't see a ton of great commanders, but a ton of really good playables and cards that go on the 99.
Really good 99 cards. Like there's the ones that stop any spells that if there was no mana spent to cast them, they get
Void
countered or something.
Yeah, that's good.
That card is just like that's going to be incredibly sad for me to see a majority of the time.
Yeah, that was pretty good. When I saw that, I was like, "Oh, this isn't that bad. Like, what am I gonna do? You're gonna counter my art? Wait, free. Wait,
You think about it, yeah, like okay, so the free mana rocks, that's one thing. The free spells,
Free
that's another
spells.
thing.
Yeah.
free spells.
Force
is
of
a big
will,
thing.
force of negation. Okay. Yeah, it adds up.
Yeah, so it's funny. So there is so many locks that people don't realize might exist now. So, I don't know why I can never remember the name of this red enchantment that when you cast a spell, you exile, you reveal cards until you hit a spell.
Possibility Storm.
Yeah, so that locks with Possibility Storm.
Oh wow.
That does lock with
Oh, it
possibility.
sure does.
Storm.
I didn't even think about
Yeah.
that. So it's another thing that goes along with your Drannith Magistrate.
Good. That's
in-
what we needed.
Okay. Was it you? Were we ever talking about a Jeskai build, like a Staxy Jeskai build? You and I, higher.
Yeah.
You have an Ishai Jessica
Yeah.
deck, right?
Mhm.
That's right. Okay. Because I remember you bringing that up to me at one point. Like you can fit like a lot of really good lock pieces in this style. I'm like, okay, yeah, cool. But that seems like that would probably go in that deck, I would imagine.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like that core of like Drannith Magistrate plus all the things that Drannith Magistrate completely locks the game out with. I would love to see more of that in cEDH. I think that's the future of where Stacks needs to be, is just Drannith Magistrate the deck.
That card is so good.
Yeah, I think hard locks were so hard to set up before because they were so bad. Like, Karn and Microsynth Lattice. Like that's
So much mana.
that's so hard.
Or like Lavinia Omen Pool.
Yeah, it's still
shenanigans.
it's still
Like,
a lot of
it's-
mana. But like now with like Drannith Magistrate, which is 2 mana, and what's the other one? The 4 mana
There's like
artifact.
Uba Mask.
Uba Mask. That's a pretty good one. So that's only 6 mana. It's kind of a lot, but that's in
That's
the realm
Jay's
of okay.
Tainted Pact scenarios
Tainted
that,
Pact.
that you're in. So
But yeah, I'm
Less
loving
mana
to see
intensive,
more
at least.
things that work with Possibility Storm too. Because what a wacky card.
Yeah, I think 6 mana is a reasonable cost considering like Niv is 6. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
You know what I mean? So like there's I am of the mindset that there is so many hard locks that you can just instill. Like, guess what? Hard lock. No one plays Magic anymore. And you can
Yeah.
like oopsie daisies into it. It's pretty crazy.
Yeah, definitely. If you have all of them in your deck, it's a shame I haven't seen. I do think the deck for that like is Drannith Magistrate, is Jeskai Colors, because you want like Lavinia and you want like all like those other things that help you create these lock states. But I haven't seen the Stacks deck that really does this perfectly yet. I'm not sure what it is. It's probably Isha Jessica is definitely a good one. I've seen that one a bunch. But that's like I said, that's just like a realm that I'm interested in people exploring more is Drannith Magistrate. I think that's like the real strength of White right now.
Those are
is that
probably
type of
the
effect.
2 commanders that you want. Like outside of all of the other Jeskai options
Yeah.
for it, though, like you probably do want to be
So
in.
far, yeah, those are the 2 that I can think
Yeah.
that really does the job.
Yeah. I think there's a good argument to be made that when you're when you're playing any type of Magic deck that you want to access, black, just to be able to tutor into things.
Yeah, especially in Singleton Commander 100 cards.
Right.
Yes, definitely.
So like I think Jessica Ishai is an amazing combo only because you can win still. Like, Jessica and Ishai, hey, triple damage, and I just need Ishai to be 7 power. Like, yay, I win.
Yep.
But outside of that, I think you could make a pretty decent argument to have access to maybe Sans Green, a Sans Green deck, to make like this like insane, and then you can run Opposition Agent. Like, oh man, no one's having a good time playing this deck.
Yeah.
You are. You're the one having a good time.
Yeah.
I play in the MLC, and one of the decks I drafted was Jorn, and Jorn is so brutal. It is so brutal. Like
Jorn can be devastating if you
You
get the
really can,
if you curve out Jorn correctly and you get the right piece at the right time. Yeah, Jorn can make it very difficult.
In playtesting, there's been games where it was like turn 1, it was land, crypt, jeweled lotus, cast Jorn, and then cast Orb of Dreams.
Oh yeah, sure.
Right? And it's like
That's a pretty good start.
that's a pretty good start, right? Okay, it's pretty
Yeah.
gnarly. And then turn 2 was stasis.
Yeah. So you got this. And
I
you're
was
playing. Are you playing a decent amount of Snowlands in the
Yeah.
cEDH version?
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
Obviously,
So
yeah. Oh my god.
So yeah, that's pretty good. Anything where you can you can help out with stasis just from the command zones. That's such a powerful effect if you can break parity on it consistently.
Yeah, that was a rough game. That was a really fast scoop. Everyone's like, "Oh, so we just can't play Magic?"
That's
Okay.
good. Yeah, that's good. You got it. Everyone's like, yep,
We're
very good.
Game 2. Okay.
Good too.
Go to the
Good too.
next one.
Yeah.
It's sometimes it's a bummer you can't play those games out a little bit. Like like it's a everyone just scoop. I got you. But you want to sometimes like let me just play God mode for 2 or 3 turns
Give
and just
me
like
3 more turns
to show you what I can really do.
You'll all be at 16 and it still won't be over yet.
Yeah, you guys. No one will be dead, but I'll have 14 more permanents in play, and it'll be fun.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Yeah. So it's stuff like that. Like I think like the current meta is a lot of ad nauseum is still like really prevalent, but I don't think it's nearly as close ended. I think that there's so many decks.
Yeah, the
I'll
ad
give you
nauseam
that,
decks
yeah.
are good. They're fragile though. They fold to spell pierce. Do you know what I mean? If you have a turn 1 spell pierce and you can counter their ad naus, a lot of the times they're not prepared to back it up when they're doing the turn 2 ad naus.
They're just trying to get it out there really quick.
So you have to after you play so much CDH, and this is probably why you favor mid ranges. You see the same patterns over and over again. It's like someone tries to win on turn 2, somebody stops them, and then the mid range player controls the game after that. The mid range player just tries to like make somebody else stop the ad naus player and then takes control on from turn 3 on.
You win that's the thing. If you can live past turn 3, you're the mid-range player, you win the game. Yeah.
And cEDH is interesting because you can force your opponents to do that for you. But yeah, I'm getting a little off track here. But.
No, it's very reminiscent of the Flash meta, right?
Yeah.
When Flash was unbanned, and everyone was kind of like, "What do we hold on? We have fingerboard. What are we doing?"
Yeah, everyone. It's a standoff. Everyone's trying to wait for the other person to go.
Yeah, and so
I have found that ad nauseum players are like. This sounds strange too, but ad nauseum players are often a different style of players than the Flash Hook players were. The Flash Hook players often did want to sandbag as long as possible, whereas the ad nauseum players are just like, I'm gonna close my eyes and go as fast as I can. It's like a
Here
little
we go.
bit.
Yep, I have a turn 2 ad naus.
Yeah.
Does it get me anywhere?
But I see what you mean. There is definitely like everyone's kind of like at a certain point once it gets to that turn 3, everyone's like waiting, which is why Kenrith is so good because Kenrith can just like end step. I held up mana.
6 cards.
I'm just gonna draw a card. Yeah, I'm just like everyone's waiting. I'll draw a card. Everyone's waiting. I'll draw a card. And all of a sudden, Kenrith's got so many cards.
so many cards, all of the cards,
All the cards.
Oh man.
Okay, so I talked a little bit about your favorite decks. Are there any cards or any decks that you're excited to see maybe transform or become more prominent in the meta?
White decks.
Yes, especially after this set gets printed, I think there's a lot more things that you're going to be able to do just with white as a color. So just having more decks that don't necessarily need to rely on some of the other colors.
White,
certainly
I think white is actually a very powerful color, but it doesn't do what the other colors do. It supports. It's not the base. It just like adds to. But now that Wizards has been kind of pressured into making white better, it's with what happened with green over the past 3 years is going to happen with white, or what happened with red over the past couple of years is going to happen with white. Where now soon white's going to get an Underworld Breach effect that's really good.
So like having like Fish Stick.
Yeah,
the name the Esper.
Oh, that's a nice name.
Thing.
For that.
It's not mine. It's not
yeah,
mine.
I
I
like
wish
that.
it was, but the Fish Stick.
The new Mystic Remora creature that first non-creature draws you a card unless they pay 1 or something.
It's like stuff like that. Like I mean, if you're in white, like that's almost just like an auto include in most white decks. I would say just like having an extra way to be able to get card advantage. For almost no cost to you. It's nice that you don't have to keep paying an upkeep cost for something like that.
Right.
So just having like more white control. Because the other thing, I don't think that Swords of Plowshares is a card that's just played enough anywhere in the format. I don't think that there's also enough just on the board interaction that happens in games.
And white can do that really well.
Yeah, so like having access to like Swords to Plowshares specifically is, really nice. So being able to add to that pool of poor good white colors between silence and all that jazz is going to be really, really excellent for decks that have white as a support color.
Yeah, I think I was playing 2 Timnas a while ago, which is a Timna Sakashima stacks deck. And that deck continues to get little nuggets of treasures as time goes on. I'm going to put it back together, I think. But decks in that vein that are looking to like actively disrupt the board while also progressing an aggressive board state strategy, I think is really good. Like everyone knows cEDH players don't play board wipes. Toxic Deluge is the only one. I guess now we do have the new ritual, the black green 4-mana one.
Oh yeah.
That card's I don't know why I can't think of the name right now.
Calling
Ritual.
Yeah.
Calling Ritual. We do have a couple more right now, but they're not.
That's still a ritual. That's not like I don't look at that card as a wrath. That card to me is a ritual.
So there is, I do think, and there's what Cameron was saying. Very few people are playing removal, so there is a weakness to like on-board pressure. And I think since white is getting so many tools, the white tools that we already have get better. So like Sanctum Prelate is a big one. I think Sanctum Prelate is such an incredible card, especially if you're playing with blue cards where you have clone effects and you can like get a Sanctum Prelate on 1, 2, and 3. Your opponents have no chance. They're locked out of the game from that. And you just like those are just your threats. You're just like playing stuff into, you want to play Phantasmal Image anyway.
You have Timna to be able to draw cards off of all of that.
So yeah, Drannith Magistrate style creature-based stacks builds. I think there's a lot going on there. And I think it's like part of the cycle. Like there's a lot of wheels going on. There's a lot, which means that there's a lot of like wheel disruption going on. So like if you Hull Breach your wheel, that's almost always lights out. But sometimes you're playing against a stacks deck like Timna that doesn't let you do anything with those treasures. It makes the treasures come in tapped or they can't work. So you can't win right away. So you have to pass your turn after you do that because you're locked out in some other way. There's a Thalia that's preventing you, whatever. But then you're playing against the Timna stacks deck that has like 20 power on board. So they can attack you. And now your life total is hit a bunch. You already ad nauseum or whatever. So there are I think that white creature-based attacking deck does a lot, and if it gets explored more, it's going to be able to really pressure ad nauseum decks and combo decks.
Yeah, there's a lot to be said with. I think yeah, Sakashima Timna is really strong. It reminds me of other decks that do similar things like Winota.
Winota's a great one.
Right?
Winota is going to see a big spike.
Yeah, Winota. Oh yeah, that new fish stick thing is great in Winota.
Yeah, there's a few cards that are pretty bananas, but
The monkey.
the monkey. But like I think about really, and shout out to comedian MTG. He talks a lot about Esper, and really the main idea is to get as much value as possible, right? So like your hate bears draw you cards, which makes your deck better, right?
Right.
But I think that there's a lot of old strategies that are still around because they work. But there's a lot of new cards that I think should be built around. An example of this, I think Magecraft should be built around because I think Magecraft is like stupid strong. But it requires like a lot of investment in time to create, I think, a deck that can build that, like you just storm out. And there's just so many new cards. Like I feel like if there was if you had the precursor of you cannot use these cards, these staple cards, you must use like anything else, and I felt like we would get a lot of really cool innovative decks. But because we want to be reliant on certain cards, I think it limits our creativity, and so we'll see what happens. I'm excited to see.
There's also wrong. I mean, Mark Rosewater says that all the time, that restrictions breed creativity. Which is so definitely if you put yourself in that sort of a box and like say, I'm not going to try to win with this. I'm going to use like your example, the Magecraft ability. It's like you have one that draws you a card, makes a treasure, you can drain people. Like there's a lot of really good options that you have within those spellcraft type of decks there. So I'm on board with that. I mean, there's just a lot of cool things you can do.
There's so, I was thinking about this the other day. There's so many new cards constantly. We don't have time to ever look at what the meta actually looks like because the meta is always changing because something came out last month. You know what I mean? Like we need 6 months of no changes for the dust to settle. The dust can never settle because everyone's changing everything. Before you get to figure out if your deck is good, before I even get to figure out if this Witherbloom Apprentice deck combo is good, something else is going to come out, and you know what I mean? I'm going to move on to that thing. So
especially because our community too is very online focused. So there's not as much of sharing information as you would hope. So what you might think is incredibly popular because it's what you know from the people that you play with, that might not be the actual circumstances. Too.
Yeah, it's true.
So there's a lot of things that are kind of assumed about the meta for that reason.
We really need like a good old fashioned core set for standard that has no cEDH cards in it whatsoever. We need like a 3-month period to not have new stuff enter so that the format can actually figure out what the best thing is. Like obviously Thoracle is, but what's the best way to get there? I'm not sure. What's the best ad nauseum deck with Thoracle? I really don't know. For a while, I thought it was Timna Crom. I thought it was I can't remember that. Blue Farm. I thought it was Blue Farm for a long time. And the more I play Ikra Crom, the more I think it might be Ikra Crom because Ikra is insane. If you can so easily get to 60 life in that deck, and an ad nauseum from 60 is so game over. It's ridiculous. But it's also slower than the Blue Farm deck. There's so many things that go into it, right? So I have no idea what the best Thoracle deck is, and I think if we had a couple months with no new cards, I think we would figure that out.
But we're not going to get that. There's obviously cEDH players inside of Wizards design team.
They're like 3 cEDH players in a trench coat pretending to be one casual player.
It's like
we think Jessica's Will is a great idea.
It's
That's
it's like a Gitrog player in there.
Yeah.
And then,
It's a Gitrog player, a Godo player, and a Thoracle 4-color player, and they're all like, "Wah."
That's hilarious.
I'll take it.
Just because
Yeah.
Will's a good idea.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like culling ritual. This card is fair. We should print it. Yes.
Yes.
Like giving everyone like thumbs up.
It's not
winking.
even good in standard or limited, guys.
Yeah.
It's fine.
That card, we don't have to go on too much of a tangent, but that card is one of the most powerful cards I've seen in years.
my
I think
God.
the fact that it allows you to turn the corner so quickly.
Yeah.
Not only do you stop everything your opponent's doing, but you can
get to set up
probably
on top of
you
it
can probably
immediately.
jam out a commander or two. You know what I mean? You can probably spend some of that 11 mana on an ad nauseum or something.
Can I ask you, are you trying it in Kenny?
Yeah.
You are okay.
Yeah.
I've had it in Kenny for a while, and I've never drawn it or
Oh,
had
damn
the
it.
chance to cast it. This is what sucks about testing cards in this format. Is
Yeah.
that like I really want to cast this
It's
thing,
probably
but-
so good in Kenrith because
It's
you make
so
a bunch
good.
of black mana,
make
you
a
kill
ton
all
as
their
long as
stuff,
you
and then
have
you
a white-
reanimate their stuff with the black mana.
Yeah.
Oh, you kill their dark side, reanimate it. Well, I mean, you're not gonna make as much treasures, but that probably does a lot of good stuff.
Oh, yeah.
With Kenrith,
Yeah.
that's good.
There's a lot of cards. I think Culling Ritual is really, really good. I think fueling your ad nause.
Yeah,
is
it really just changed the
ridiculous.
landscape for what ad nauseum decks can do, because before you had to like Rain of Filth or Chain of Vapor or like remove all of your lands to make the extra mana, but now you can do this to make the extra mana. So even if you whiff, you still destroyed the board, so you have time to rebuild.
Mhm.
Even
And
if
no
you
one
like,
can hit you.
and no one
Yeah.
can hit you, yeah, because you probably play a 3/7 or a Kenrith or something, so you can block.
Yeah.
Or the stuff is all dead.
Other stuff is all dead, right? No one hits
Yeah.
you. So yeah, there's definitely a lot coming into the metas, and I think it's exciting. I think we're in an exciting time. I do agree with you. I think that it would be great to have like a break or like a standard set to
Yeah.
be released in between, just so we can get a little bit of time to let the dust settle and get our. I have a pretty staunch belief system in terms of deck creation and playing decks. Like I make a lot of decks, but I don't play a lot of decks. You probably want to get like 40 games in with a deck to get an understanding of like how strong or weak it is.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
right there with
I've
you.
always been told 30 was the number. That was the number that Tyler always told me. Apparently, there's some statistic mathematical that if you do something 30 times, then you should have a fair idea. But 40 is probably even safer than 30.
Yeah, I mean that's just that. Yeah, that's just semantics.
Yeah.
At that point.
50,
Yeah.
60.
1,000
I mean,
Yeah,
games.
Tyler always told me. Tyler's our math guy. He's another guy player on the
Yeah.
channel, and he's always told me 30 is the amount. That you need 30 instances of
Do you
something.
just push up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
30 is
He doesn't even wear glasses. I'm making fun of nothing, but he's always like told me, and it's been great. It's good helpful that if you do something 30 times, because I'm always asking like, when does it become not a small sample size anymore? He's like 30. 30 is the number. Once you do it 30 times, you can get a fair guess, and then it's going to repeat after that. I don't know if that's true or not, but
Yeah, that's hilarious. Shout out to Tyler, by the way.
Yeah, Tyler,
Man
he's
always
great.
has
I love Tyler's the
everything. I
best.
swear to God,
He does.
he always has it. I swear.
always has it.
Gosh, made me so paranoid. All right, let's see. So, okay, we probably should wrap up a little bit, but
That sounds- talking yapping for an hour about 14 different things. No one's gonna be able to follow. It's like, what the hell are these guys talking about?
hey, that is the theme.
That's the theme. Yeah.
Sounds like a typical.
We were talking about
conversation.
authenticity. This is
Yeah.
this is an authentic conversation, if anything.
It's more meant to be conversational than anything
There we
else.
go.
Yeah.
But I did want to say thank you.
Absolutely.
Like not only like yeah, coming onto the show, I'm super grateful for that for sure. But we talked about community previously, and I think cEDH gets a bad rep because it's a bunch of spikes, right? It's a bunch of people that want to play like the most competitive format, the most powerful cards, rah rah rah. But I think there is we've been in quarantine for a year and a half ish,
Yeah.
and
yeah.
so like that sense of like, where is my community when I can't go outside, I can't connect with people, and I think that specifically in certain discords, I'm always going to represent cEDH Nexus because that's my home base, but looking for people outside of that and looking for communities outside of that, Play to Win was one of the ones that I gravitated towards, and I think that like is solely because not only the community is that exists, but the way they interact with the videos that come out that make you feel part of the community that you're a part of, and it's like, oh yeah, that's what we're doing. Like that's cool, and so I
It's
think
supposed
that's
to be fun.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I think I just appreciate that. I appreciate that.
Thank
That's
you.
what
I
brought to
appreciate
this
that
one.
you getting that vibe from us. That's
Mhm.
awesome to hear because that's been our goal from the beginning is to make it feel like that. So that's nice to hear that people also feel that way because we're in the same boat. We're also quarantined. We're also looking
Yeah.
for a community and a friend group and stuff. So when people reach out and they find that in our videos, that's so cool to hear.
We're just two doofuses playing some
Two
magic.
doofuses.
Yeah, that was a big thing. We just like we're idiots. We want to show players that it's okay to be an idiot and play
Yeah.
cEDH. It's fine. Just have
Yes.
fun. It's the point we're doing this for fun. You don't have to
Yeah.
hate it when you're doing it. You should enjoy it while you're playing or watching.
Absolutely, guys. Absolutely. All right. So shilling again. We do two
Yeah.
shills, I guess. They call me two shills. What do you guys got going on? What are the things to expect from Play to Win?
Yeah. Check us out, Play to Win on YouTube. We got a bunch of videos. Like I said in the beginning, we post every Sunday. We're working on Modern Horizons content right now. So for most of June, a lot of the stuff that we're working on is Modern Horizons stuff. But check out the Discord if you can. Twitter and Instagram is where we hang out as well. Thank you for having us. This has been a blast, a cool conversation. Good start to my Sunday morning.
Yeah. me too.
Yes. Links will be below, as they say in the YouTubes. Thank you guys again for coming to the late nights.
Absolutely.
We will be sharing this soon enough. And if anyone wants to follow us, we are on Twitter and YouTube where you're watching this now. Hashtag late nights. And I'll have links below. I will also have links to some of the decks we talked about: Equicrom, Blue Farm, all the good things. Kenwraith, of course. And we'll put a finger guns emoji as well. But thank you guys so much, and we'll talk to you all later.